Okay, we are. All right, hello everybody. My name is Bill Kennedy. This is the Miami Mug, and today we have a really special guest with us, all the way from New York at MongoDB, Peter Gravelle. And he's going to talk to us about the new MMS platform and some of the really cool things that it can do. So, Peter, thank you for coming tonight, and maybe you could just quickly introduce yourself, and we'll get going.
Thank you, William. As he said, my name is Peter Gravelle. I'm the technical account manager for MMS here at MongoDB, based in New York. I help customers use MMS and get them onboarded into our system and try to help prioritize incoming feature requests and bugs. So what I'm going to talk about today is the new MMS, how it's changed from what you might be familiar with, and also what are some of the really cool new things you can do with MMS now that we have included the automation feature that we announced at MongoDB World. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a quick little presentation of how the logged out screens appear, and then once I find that button, there it is. Very nice. And so what I'm going to go and show you is just a quick little demonstration of the logged out pages that give a good summary of the changes that MMS has experienced recently. And then I'm going to give you a demo of some really cool stuff that you can do with MMS to greatly simplify your operations concerns. So here we go, sharing the screen and on to the presentation. William, can you guys see okay?
Yeah, looks good.
Very good. Okay, so if you're like me, you spend all your time logged in to MMS rather than logged out. So you might not have seen that a few weeks ago we actually completely overhauled the front page of the website to highlight the new features that MMS can now do. So not only can you do cloud backup and cloud monitoring of your MongoDB instances, you can even manage them. So that's what we're talking about in terms of the new automation features that the new MMS allows. So as a cloud managed solution, you can use this web interface to manage your MongoDB cluster, whether that's stored in your local data center or in AWS or Rackspace or whoever. This makes it super easy to run because you can define all your parameters in a nice, clean web interface without having to delve into options files and stuff like that. And it also makes a lot of maintenance operations much, much easier, including things like upgrading and adding and removing shards. So how does this work? Well, what we do is either we install for you or you install what we call the automation agent. And then it makes a request from MMS saying, so where do I need to go? What do I need to do? How do I need to make this server behave in the future? Whether it's a replica set, a sharded cluster, or even a standalone, although if you want to have backup, you're going to need a replica set. So, and you can do this on your own laptop, you can do this in your data center, or you can do this in a public cloud like AWS. Now, I mentioned AWS because we have some really tight, awesome integration with AWS where you can, you don't have to worry about provisioning. You give us your keys, and what we'll do is we'll spin up instances for you already with the normal and ideal settings for your for running MongoDB. You don't have to worry about ulimits. You don't have to worry about read aheads. None of that stuff anymore. We'll handle that for you, and then we'll install MongoDB for you, which is really pretty cool. You continue to get the same old monitoring that you're used to having with the lovely colored graphs and shard by shard statistics, host by host statistics. Really awesome looking stuff over here. But it is awesome, and therefore we have to charge for it. Good news is you can get it for free pretty easily. Your first 8 servers that are managed by the automation agents are free. Every additional server will cost you $50 a month, And that's additional servers. So if you go to 9, you only pay $50. If you go to 10, you pay $100. You don't pay for all the servers previous to that. So that's pretty cool. And we also have the optional backup. By optional backup, I mean that you can use MMS Cloud Backup, and you can use 1 gigabyte of data size completely free. Any more than that, it's $2.50 per gigabytes per month, or you can prepay that for the year. So you'll notice if you've been using MMS Cloud Backup that this is a significantly simplified pricing. We used to charge you both for how many snapshots you were holding and how big they were, and also what your oplog usage was, which can be very hard to predict. It depends entirely on how write-heavy or update-heavy your workload is, how big your documents are, and a bunch of things that are fairly difficult to model. So we decided to greatly simplify the pricing for backup, and we think it's a very good deal. It's very competitive and pretty awesome. Okay, so I've come to the blank slide, which means it's time for the demo. So,
hey Peter, do me one favor. Make the screen a little bit bigger.
Make this part bigger?
Yeah, can you?
Yeah, certainly, no problem, no problem. Give me one moment to do the zoom thing. Okay, Apple Plus. Rendering. Well, there we go. Far too big. Sorry about that. I will shrink this back down just a touch. Is that better? Perfectly legible to everybody now?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, cool. So what I have here is I have a demo group. Right now there's no servers, there's no MongoDBs deployed, but I previously provisioned a bunch of servers for you so I can do this demo pretty quick. What you'll see over here if I go over to the Servers tab is I now have a whole bunch of demo servers running in AWS. And I provisioned them through MMS, and you'll notice that they're spread across availability zones. They're a size that I specified, M3 medium. This is going to be a big demo, right? We don't need to spend a lot of money on it. But maybe you're running something big, and you can. We'll go into that later. So I have a bunch of servers here, and what I'm going to do is I've decided, okay, it's time for me to launch a new sharded cluster and get the spinning beach ball of death. Awesome. Come on. There we go. Cool. So let's go and make a new deployment. We're going to create a new sharded cluster. Let's call it something fun. You guys are in Miami, so we'll call it Beach. And we're going to make it, we're deciding we're going to go a little retro here and use version 2.4.12. We're going to put it onto all the servers I have. I'm happy with any of them being used here, so we're going to use all of them. 27,000 to port 28,000. At this point, since it's just a demo, I'm going to have only one MongoS. We're going to put it out here on 27.17. And then we're going to have our config servers. We're only again going to need one of them because this is just a demo, and we'll just put it at 27. Thank you. And we'll put this one at 27.018. How many shards do we want to have? Let's make this 3 shards, and we're going to have 3 replica set members per shard, which is pretty easy and awesome. If we wanted to, we could make them hidden or put a delay on them or just the votes. We're going to leave these as the default values rather than mucking about with it, but you could if you wanted to. Since the cluster is called Beach, we'll call the shard names the ocean. Why not? And this is where I'm going to store my data. Another cool thing that you can do here is maybe you're a Mongo Pro and you want to adjust your startup options and change what they're going to be. Or in my case, maybe I'm giving a presentation and I want this to be done quickly. I can do things like enable small files or make the oplog really tiny so it'll launch faster, things like that. And you have you have a lot of your options. You don't have all of them yet. We're working on adding them all the time, but this is what we have right now. So that's pretty cool. And I don't need this one. And you can also have startup options for your MongoS's or your config servers, but they're not really going to affect me very much. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click Apply. And once I click Apply, you can see that I have my cluster, Beach, and I have 3 shards, Ocean 0, 1, and 2. And I can see that I have 3 shards, I have 3 config servers, I have 1 MongoS, just like I configured them. But one of the other cool things that I can do is I can go into the server view, and I can see what processes are going to be installed on each server. So right now, every server has an automation agent. And that's the job of the automation agent is to query a MMS and find out what it's supposed to be doing next. But we also have other agents available, just like we used to have. We had the monitoring agent and the backup agent. By default, we only install one of those. But let's say I'm a little paranoid. This one's in US East 1B. Let's put 1 monitoring agent in each availability zone because we don't want to lose our monitoring or backup for that matter. Let's put them both in case an availability zone goes down. You'll also notice, and this is a little bit challenging to see at this size, but you can see that we tried to spread replica sets among the availability zones. So, for instance, here we have Ocean 2 in US East 1A, we have it also in US East 1D, and we have it in US East 1B right over here. And this is all handled automatically for you. You didn't have to click and drag, but you can. You can click and drag. Let's say I want to have Ocean 2 over here on this server instead. Done. Or it will be done when we initiate it. Speaking of, I'm going to finish my task here with putting monitoring agents and backup agents in each zone. It's pretty easy. So that's pretty cool. You can see the topology that's going to be pushed out. And I think we're pretty happy with the way it's set up right now. So we're going to push review and deploy. And it gives us a quick summary of the changes we've made. We've created a cluster. We have a shard. The shard's running version 2.4.12. It has here the data, the log path, the database path, whether it's an arbiter, hidden, votes, delays, all those fun things, all the details you could possibly dream of are in here. And we're pretty happy with them, so we're going to hit confirm and deploy. And so what that's going to do is now we're going to reach out, all the the automation agents are going to reach out into MMS and find, oh, what I'm supposed to be has changed. And now I have to do the necessary things to make those changes. So it's going to go out into the world and download the version of MongoDB that we asked for. It's going to go out and start writing out config files according to what we've asked for. And we actually get to watch this status as time goes by over here. So that's pretty cool. Yep, some of these are already done, which is pretty nice. You can see that the MongoS is waiting for the config servers to come up. Not the config servers are coming up eventually. And so you can see where all these statuses is, which is pretty cool because this used to be a very, do step 1, wait for it to complete. Do step 2, wait for it to complete. The computer can now do these steps for you, do the waiting for you, and do them in the right order, which is really, really nice. Wait charts at primary.
Here, let me ask you a question while we're looking at that.
Yeah.
So there's that agent software that's running on each of those servers to make all this happen. That's talking about MMS. So is that a step that you have to do yourself manually before you can start using the tool?
Actually, I'm going to go into that a little bit with the provisioning screen. But yeah, if you're not provisioning through MMS, you have to install the agent yourself.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's as easy if you've ever done any of the other agent installations. It's downloading an RPM or a deb or a tarball and editing a config file. It's not too much heavy lifting.
And you guys have that obviously for Linux and Windows, I imagine? Or just
we currently have automation agents available for Linux and OS X, not yet for Windows. That's sometime next year. I don't know more than that right now.
Like the OS X, I guess, is for development purposes?
Yes. Short answer and the clear answer is absolutely yes. So actually, we've already reached our deployment, but let's say it was taking a long time and we were confused. Why is it taking so dang long? I don't know. Let's ask MongoDB why it's taking so long. So I've already prepared one earlier, so we're just going to look at the MongoDB logs for another one, just because it's fun that way. And you can actually see the MongoDB logs without even having to connect directly to the connect. This is an old example that I had previously. You can see eventually as we scroll forward. Let's see if we get there. You actually should see the configs, the RS config being set correctly and it coming up as either as a secondary or primary. Or no, I'm wrong. Apparently, I didn't have that one captured in this one. Here's the new one. You can see everything humming along as normal. It's happy with what it's got. You can see that it's allocating stuff. So you have access to those MongoDB logs, which is pretty cool. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to our deployment, and we now have you can go into the view mode, and you can see the settings. Sorry, not see the settings. See the monitoring data that we've got. This is a brand new cluster, so there's not a lot of information about it, but it is available. The next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to do something which normally is kind of annoying. I decided, okay, I'm happy with 2.4, but it's time to get on with the world. I need to have some 2.6 feature, or maybe I just want to make sure that when 2.8 comes out, I'm ready to upgrade as soon as possible. So we're going to edit our deployment. We're going to change it to the latest version of 2.6, and then we just hit apply. And after a few moments.
So, do I have to bring my application down before I do that?
The answer to that question is no, as long as you're using replica sets. As long as you're using replica sets, you wouldn't have to bring it down. If you're using a standalone, then the standalone has to come down. Otherwise, we automatically do the recommended rolling upgrade method as we document, as we have documented. So you never actually have any downtime. So when we do this review and deploy, it's, as you see, we have the summary here of 2.4.12 to 2.6.5. We confirm and deploy it, and now it's going to start running through. So while it's doing that, it's not a tremendously long process, but it does take a little time. Let's step over to how did we get these servers in the first place. There's two different ways to do it. One is to, as I mentioned before, just download the automation agent onto existing hardware or instances that you've already got provisioned out in some cloud provider somewhere. But we also offer really tight integration with AWS. And what that allows us to do is we can say, okay, let's provision some EC2 machines directly. We can say which region we want them to be in, what machine image we want them to run, and then we can pick its instance size, whatever one we're doing. I don't know. I'm picking one at random here. We can say how many of them we want to make. We can give them all a name. I hate using demo as prefixes, so I hope you'll forgive me for doing silly things. Select a security group, use an SSH key that we've previously given MMS.
These are images you guys have already have out there that we're leveraging when you do this?
Yes, we offer those. Right now, those 4 AMIs, they are Amazon Linux and Ubuntu, either para-virtualized or HVM, which I can't remember what that stands for right now. But yes, we do offer those. Additionally, you can say, okay, well, I'd like to use an EBS volume, or I'd like to RAID across 2 instance stores, and so that's to get some higher performance out of things. Oh, shoot, no, darn it. Well, I didn't want to actually provision the machines because that's going to cost money. Oh well, I'll shut them down later. This process takes a little while, and I didn't want to waste your time watching them provision. But you can see it's already starting to load them. And I will have to remember to shut them down as soon as I get off the Hangout with you guys because they are big and they will be expensive.
We'll expense it to the Miami mug.
I'll try, but somehow I don't think it's going to work. So all the while I was, installing these new servers, it has already gone through the upgrade process, and I now have a nice, happy 265 a set of servers, and have had no downtime with my application because we did it with a rolling upgrade, upgrading the secondaries and then the other secondary and then the primary, step by step by step, in such a way as to minimize downtime to the point where it doesn't really even happen. The automation agent also helps keep your other agents up to date, like your backup and monitoring agents. You can look at their logs too if you want. And yeah, so you got all that going on, and cool. So that is what I had on my agenda, but I'd be happy to take you guys' questions. So if there's anybody on the chats, please feel free to chat it. If you're on video, then just ask, shout out.
You guys have a question?
No, this is a learning experience for me.
Are you able to, from that, see the op log on machines? If we were, let's say I needed to troubleshoot something on a particular cluster, is there a way to get to the stats and the statistics and the op log?
Okay. Well, so let's say it's on this primary. You already have access to your usual MMS graphs, so you can see your op counters, your gigabytes per hour, any of your normal graphs here. You can pull out the MongoDB logs, as I showed you earlier. We have the ping data, which is kind of uninteresting, but sometimes there is something interesting. There's no munin on this one, so there's nothing in the hardware data. So you have access to that already. Additionally, if we go back to my deployment, one of the things that you can do with a particular instance is you can click on Connect to this instance. And it's going to give you instructions on how to reach a particular server, via the Mongo shell, so you can run your own stuff.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that helps.
Yes. Also, that was not what I wanted to push, but that's okay. Come on. Go back. No, it is going back. It's just slow. Because I'm doing webcasting. And you can just connect to it because with the public keys that you've already uploaded into AWS. Not into AWS. You've uploaded it into MMS, and we use those keys to configure a user for you on the instance in AWS.
So basically, if I wanted to just set up a small replica set to start doing some development, I could use this system to put that together for free. I'd have to obviously pay for whatever the computing time is on the AWS or the other machines that, let's say I was using DigitalOcean or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd be able to use this service, you were saying up to, was it 9 machines?
Yes, up to 8 machines is free, actually. Beyond that, it's not. $50 per server per month, and it's actually billed by the hour, just like AWS already does. Server hour, I guess, if you're going to be technical.
So Alan Tito is asking me, what are some of the features you guys are working on in the future that you really think need to be, like your next set of features for the future?
Next set of features for this is going to be, there's certain upgrade paths that we don't have yet. For instance, taking a standalone and turning it into a replica set. We don't have that yet. We also don't have, what's it called? We don't have a replica set to sharded cluster conversion yet. And the more information that we have for that would be good. Additionally, we would like to offer this kind of tight integration that we have with AWS for everybody, or not for everybody, but for the major players that have APIs that we can call into. But we need to have an idea of who everybody's using. I mean, a lot of people use AWS, so we went for them first. But some people are using, as you say, DigitalOcean or Rackspace or whatever else they're using. We'd like to know, so we could do that.
Maybe you can talk to the, I guess, developer support or the service piece, right? So I'm trying this out. It's really not working. What kind of support are you guys offering right now to help me as I struggle? Maybe because the tool looks great. Don't get me wrong. The dragging and dropping. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. But who do I call or where can I go?
Well, we do offer the community support, and as always, if you're already a commercial support customer, you can always reach out to your existing Jira tickets and things like that. We are still taking certain direct contacts as it's very new. We want to make sure that everybody has as much success as possible.
Hey, Alan, switch over to you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, my mistake. There. I didn't know we were going to switch back over to screen sharing. So yeah, right now in terms of support, if you're not already a commercial support customer, we're recommending that people go through the public, like the Google groups and Stack Overflow. However, we are still taking tickets via the MMS support project, if necessary. We're trying to help build a public knowledge base to help make it easier for everybody to use.
Got it. All right. I don't have any other questions. You guys have any questions?
This is good.
So I wanted to get started with this tomorrow.
Okay.
Where do we go?
We go to mms.mongodb.com and create an account, sign up. By the way, for you guys, if you want to reach out, you can reach out to me at peter@mongodb.com. If you have any like simple, basic questions, we're working on making the docs better all the time. So if the docs confuse you, please let me know, because I know that they are a work in progress at all times.
But I have to say that MongoDB is one of the better companies out there for documentation on the web.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah.
It's just, MMS now doing all this automation stuff is a big change, not just for you guys, our users, but also for our documentation team and a lot internally. There's a lot of questions that come up, so it's perfectly reasonable to ask.
Let me ask you one of the questions. I just thought about it. So, when's the next release for MongoDB is coming when?
When is are you talking about MongoDB 2.8?
I think so.
Okay. I don't have a firm date for that yet. I believe it should be out before year's end, but and I think that's what we said at MongoDB World. But more than that, more detail than that, I cannot give you for many reasons.
And that's fine. But I guess my question is are those releases coordinated with the MMS, or is it something where that will come out and I may have to wait before I have access to it in MMS?
Those releases are absolutely coordinated with MMS. We have in MMS ready to go whatever stable branch version. So we don't have like 2.7 or 2.5, but we do have 2.6, and we will have 2.8 as soon as it's released.
All right, cool. And then if I have existing servers today, basically all I need to do is install the agent?
No, we don't support importing existing deployments at this time. That is another feature which I totally forgot to mention when you asked about features we needed. My apologies. Yes, we don't have I guess we call it importation. Some people have called it adoption. We haven't finalized terms yet, but we don't support that at this time.
So then I would have to manually, I guess, export, import data.
At this time, yes.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, I really appreciate your time. This is awesome. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this. A lot of us are trying to do this manually on the command line.
Yeah.
Knowing that this is free for update servers, it's almost silly to not use it, right?
Yeah, no.
Right. So great job, guys, over there. I really, really appreciate it.
We're super glad to hear it, and we'd love to hear back from you guys about any difficulties or new features or even good things perhaps.
All right, cool. So this is Bill Kennedy from the Miami Mug signing out. Thank you for everyone joining us, and going to watch the video later. Thank you, and Peter.
No problem. Have a great night, guys.
All right. Night.
All right.